Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim, our championship leader, by 6 points after taking 2 victories this year. Famously in his home country, in Sepang at the start of the year, and last time out as well in Buriram. The second race in Buriram after a really strong first race with Ben Green. And that has given him this slender championship lead over the BMW pairing, the Silver Am pairing of Maxime Hussein and Ruan Chun Fan. BMW still yet to take a victory in GT World Challenge Asia. It's been, well, never since they were on the top step of the podium as a brand here, but as part of the GT World Challenge manufacturer points that combines our 4 different championships. BMW will be highly appreciative of the amount of points that the Silver Am pairing can offer. Got a couple of different liveries to get our heads around and a couple of different lineups to get our heads around for this weekend in GT World Challenge Asia. A 3rd new livery for the number 13 machine. No change in the 45 Audi Sport Asia Team Phantom car, with Frankie Chen and James Yu Kwai driving that car that took a victory in the first race last time out in Buriram. It seems such a long time ago that we were in Buriram. Almost seems like a different championship. Buriram sadly not on the 2026 calendar that was announced just a few weeks ago at Spa as part of the 24 hours of Spa. But we do have the return of Shanghai, a 2-race calendar for China, 2 races in Japan, and then Lombok and Malaysia, rounding out a 6-round championship for GT World Challenge Asia for 26, but we're still only halfway through 25. No change in the lineup with Mike Joe and Ralph Aron in the number 2 Climax car. Seeing glimmers of brilliance from that car. A podium in Mandalika, and a podium last time out in Buriram as well. So they sit 11th in the championship, because outside of those podiums they basically haven't scored any points, unfortunately. We welcome back the number 18 of Nagai and Kotaka. Missing in Buriram last time out, missing in Malaysia at the start of the season. The Porsche Center Okazaki entering the 25 car as well. So they've got 2 entries in. We've seen the 25 car throughout the whole season, but we haven't seen that number 18 because it gets used across other championships. There's our AM leaders in the Garage 75 Ferrari 296, David Chip Piantoro and Christian Colombo. Green flag at the end of pit lane, so cars now heading out onto circuit, and they are led by the... now that's why he was on his own. I was wondering why we had a green flag but only 1 car out on circuit. A problem for the number 55, which is the Winnear Harmony Ferrari. We'll have Liu Hangcheng aboard that car, and blocking pit lane right now, leaving Hidebon out there on his own. Hidebon back in the team Gojigen Nissan GT Nismo. If you are, by the way, a big fan of our GT3 racing, we've got a double dosing for you this weekend. This is a Power Tour weekend where we have GT World Challenge Asia and Japan Cup on the programme. And so stick around with us for 2 lots of qualifying sessions and 4 one-hour races. Second round of the Japan Cup. And this is a bit concerning for the number 55. It doesn't look like they've got that car going again. And whilst we're sort of dribbling out onto circuits, it has sort of spaced out the field. Number 500 comes over the line to start his lap, but he's going to be in a lot of traffic. There he is at the tail of shot, and all of these cars are going to be in the way. Hirabon looks like he's not going to go for a lap this time round, just still warming up his tyres. It's 21 degrees out there. It's very heavy cloud cover, which almost stretches down to the top of the grandstands. There have been times that we've been here and it completely covers the grandstands. The Patrick Pilet and Wang Zhongwei 911 Porsche from Absolute Racing with a different livery, or it's back to its white and red livery. If you remember that race, it ran as a B-Quick liveried car in Buriram. That's because it was a different chassis. It was liveried for the previous weekend at the Thai Super Touring Championship, and they basically just used the same car as run the weekend before without changing the livery. So an opportunity for B-Quick for an extra little bit of coverage and sponsorship. Lovely bright livery on the first of the Porsche Centre Okazaki cars. And then the more sort of traditional turquoise? Yeah, turquoise and white. Number 25 behind. So just a reminder, if you are new to us, we have our AM drivers in these cars at the moment. If they are a Pro-Am pairing or if they're a Silver-Am pairing, it'll be the AMs in the car. Of course, if they are an AM pairing, then there is just AMs available. And you have the flexibility, therefore, as an AM pairing to decide which session you put your two AMs in. We also have 4 silver entries, and therefore 4 cars with silver drivers in for this first session. So you'd expect them to be the fastest in this session. Although sometimes we do end up with some pretty strong AMs at the head of the field. It's taking a while to get this session up to speed. Hirabon out on circuit in the first sector, but taking his time about it, so still no laps yet on the board. This number 31 car, back with Jaden Ajeda. We saw Daniel Morad in that car last time out alongside Tao Che. And that was because Jaden was racing over in Australia. No clash this weekend, so the Australian back in that car. A couple of other changes to the entry list. No change to Dorian Boccolacci's and Anthony Liu, staying in pit lane, awaiting for some space. They have been out and back in again, but as you can see, not touching the car. No problems with the car, just waiting for some space on circuit. All cars bar one have shown themselves, and of course that one missing is that 55 car. So other changes to the lineup. You can see on the top of the timing screens the number 60 machine. No Giancarlo Fisichella in that car. So Kei Nakashini rejoins Wakisaka. We saw him in the first weekend of the year, and they didn't really perform, did they? Hopefully he'll be in a little bit more familiar ground, because the start of the year racing in Malaysia was his first race outside of Japan, and so Kei will feel more at home racing back in Japan. But I say that, I'm not completely convinced that's correct. Still waiting for the times to start ticking through. This is a car that I expect to do really well this weekend. The Winnie Harmony 96. Always been there and thereabouts. Deng Yi and Lu Kailu. unfortunately had that start crash in race 2 in Buriram. Was on the podium in race 1 and was on the pole on race 2, if I remember correctly. But a change of partner for Andy Deng, and I think that has definitely upped the game for the 96. So really expecting Lukai Lu to do big things in the 96 this weekend. That is a silver pairing, so expect that to be one of our fastest cars in this session. Hirabon's now done a time of a 40.45, so this is a bit more representative lap times. In fact, Lukai Lu's time of a 39.0 is very, very strong. He's going again, pushing for another lap time. And we are starting to see some purple sectors out on circuit, and certainly obviously green ones, because everyone's has not really done a lap time yet. We do need to be careful of track limits. There's a lot of track limit penalties that were given out yesterday in the pre-qualifying session, and that track limit infringement will cancel that lap where it is infringed upon. And number 45, another car to watch out for, and he's driving the 45 in this first session. Frankie Cheng. There's another silver. They had the opportunity to put James Ukwai in that car, but I think that's been the case most of this year, that they've had Frankie do the first session and James Ukwai then with a big sort of challenge for himself, because he's up against the pros in the second session. In the number 99, Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim. Championship leaders, definitely having the luck with them this year. First year in the Corvette, first year with their own Johor JMR racing team. And coming in, you would say that Prince Abu Bakar, with 2 victories to his name, was the stronger of the drivers. But when we hadn't seen Prince Jeffrey last year, but 2 wins to Prince Jeffrey's name, and he comes across the line and goes up into second position, a 1 second back from Lukai Lu, as the 18 car has a harmless spin. Hiroki Nagai in that car, 11th position right now. There's Ben Green watching his teammate, so very influential over the last couple of rounds, finding his feet in that car very quickly. First victory for Prince Jeffrey came alongside Alexander Sims, the Corvette factory driver. But Simsy with clashes over the last couple of rounds, meaning we won't see him, I think, until the street circuit in Beijing at the end of the year. It's been a very good time from Lukai Lu. He is a second ahead of anybody else right now. Frankie Cheng comes over the line 9/10 back, and Prince Ibrahim was a second back. Then you've got the second of the Corvettes in 4th right now. The Silver Am Lamborghini of Huang Wuhan. And then Bob Wan in 6th position, as Prince Abu Bakar now improves his lap time up into 2nd spot. Another silver pairing of Rio and Chaunton. Over the line for Rio, and goes up into 9th position. So a few AMs ahead of him at the moment. Bob Wan, always a very, very strong AM, and Bob is there, losing a little bit of time in the middle sector of the lap. Just 2 victories to Porsche here in Fuji, and they both came last year. Before last year, Porsche had never won at Fuji. It was courtesy of Bob Wan and Liu Ye, who became champions, took victory in race 1. Bob exits the final turn towards the line. Let's see what this effort can do. 9th at the moment. And looks a long, long, long way down this very long straight to get to the timing line. And he cuts the beam and goes into 3rd position. Lukai Liu has already come into the pit, so he has decided the benchmark is untouchable from his side. And so half a second back is Frankie Cheng, but still improving. Bob Wan improving in that last lap. Then the two princes, Anthony Liu in 6th position, but don't forget he came out of the pits late, so he is still early on his tyres. And then a returning name, and another Ferrari that I am tipping is that car, the 98 of Hiroshi Hamaguchi. Partners with Thierry Vermeulen in the 98 Ferrari that we saw Anderson Tonotto in early in the year. Great to have Hamaguchi back with us. Different setting for him though, he's always been a Lamborghini driver, and so we'll be having to adjust to this 296. But it's not a bad qualifying in 8th position, more significantly ahead of one of the silvers in Rio. Lots of lap times being deleted for track limits. The number 33 machine of Ming Wang Hang just losing a lap time just now. Mike Zhou, comes across the line, was 13th, but lots of traffic on that last lap, so missing out. Bit of a disaster for the 55, still no showing. And we are 43 seconds away from Q1 finishing, so they won't get a position on this first grid. They'll have to start at the back, and if they don't get out of the next one, then they'll have to start at the back for both of the races. Such is the format. It's a car that we had Lorenzo Patrese in at the start of the year. Alice Spainen, the Finn, now in there. Over the line for Wang Xiongwei, 16th position in a car that he shares with Patrick Pilet. Here is our champion from 2023. Anthony Liu to the line then, was 6th. Is this going to be an improvement for him and for Porsche? Picks up the checkered flag, and it is no improvement. In fact, the lap time was deleted anyway. So, no more lap times able to be started, and it doesn't really look like any lap times are going to be improved upon. Maybe Hamaguchi in the Ferrari. Got a green first sector. Haven't seen his second sector yet. Lu Wei also in a slightly different liveried number 4 Porsche. Comes into the pit, so decides against it. He's only 11th position, but I'd be watching out for that Ferrari 98. Waiting for that car to come around the final turn. 911 backs out of it, so that's not going to be an improvement. There's the number 60 that ended up in 18th position. And there, right at the back of shot, is the 98 machine. Hamaguchi coming towards the line. 0.4 of a second off in the middle sector, but still a better time for him. Liang Jietong over the line, no improvement from the 77 that he shares this weekend with Darrell O'Young, and Hamaguchi does not improve in the final sector and stays in 9th position. So that was the last real attempt, I think. And with a very early lap and an absolute command of the session, Lukai Liu takes pole position by half a second. Hardly saw the car because it did 2 laps and then came into the pits, but that was a mega effort. 38.5 for Lukai Liu. will line up with the Audi of Frankie Chen alongside him. So it's a silver front row. But all weekend long, those Ferraris have been going well. It's been a while since we had a Ferrari victory in GT World Challenge Asia. Let's go back to Okayama in 2023. And it looked like, and we spoke about the possibility of it happening last time out in Buriram, but unfortunately it kind of tailed away from them. And actually it wasn't them, was it? There was another Ferrari that was doing a really good job. So that's the end of the first session then. All cars have now taken the flag. 46 Audi with a new driver in that car. Bian Ye makes a return to the championship. One-time winner in a Lamborghini last year, alongside Eduardo Liberati. But only qualified in 22nd position in his Audi. The 500, first car out on track of Hidebon. 14th position for them, second in Silver Am though. And actually, it's been a bad, yeah, I think probably they would say this, it's been a bad session for BMW. Ran Chun-Fan only 17th position and third Silver Am. A car that sits second in the championship. That is a long way back, nearly 2 seconds slower than our pole time. They will be scratching their heads down at KRC. That was not the plan. Here are the provisional results. Pole position in Am to Amak and Ben Porter, no surprise there. Bob Juan gets the Pro-Am pole position for the 87 car. And the front row will be Win Here Harmony alongside Audi Sport 45, and all silver front row. Then 2 Pro-Ams, really good qualifying for both Chevrolets, look, 4th and 5th position. Anthony Liu in 6th, we'll be happy with that. Really good qualifying for the Lamborghini of the Huang Ruhan in 7th position. Liang Jiatong in 8th, shares that car with Darrell Young. Hamaguchi in 9th, and then the 4th of the silvers in 10th position. Having a look down there, Will Ben Porter in 15th, very strong qualifying as we come to expect. Good qualifying from the Absolute Racing Porsche in 16th position. As you say, not great though for the BMW, down in 17th spot, nearly 2 seconds back. The Porsche Center Okazaki cars 20th and 21st. And the rest of our 30 entries. 31 cars on the entry list, but no time for the number 55 Win Here Harmony. So let's go down to Emily, who has our pole position. Let's find out how he's feeling.
So once again, pole position, congratulations. Here in Fuji, it's not really humid today, but you made your run really hot.
Yeah, actually we are doing pretty well in the practice. So we have a really strong car in the I think in the whole weekend. I think I do a very clean lap, 2 lap. Actually, I think I can do better, maybe a little bit. But now I'm really happy to have a second pole position for the whole season. Thank you, team, and thank you, Win Here. We have a very, very good car this weekend.
I feel your confidence from your expression. Good luck on your race.
Yes, yeah, let's see a race. And I will, yeah, like Buriram, I will do like Buriram. And I think we are very good in the race also.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, very strong in Buriram, where he was, but it was the start of race 2 where they had that accident, and I'm afraid, yeah, then didn't show. So the 96 car at the front of the queue for qualifying 2, but the 55 I noticed in the background of that interview up on its high jacks, so it's going nowhere, and that is no qualifying then for Liu Hangcheng and Elias Sepanen. For those Pro-Am entries, we've got the pros in the cars now, and always exciting to have the likes of Alessio Piccarello, for instance, Patrick Pile, Dorian Boccolacci. Was such a busy last couple of months for all GT3 drivers. It's sort of almost, I was about to say, for me it's the end of my busy period, but there is Misano's sprint race next weekend, which a few of these drivers will be doing, these pro drivers. Akash Nandi will be aboard that 29 Lamborghini, racing last weekend in the Thai Super Series. And their street track, which is, the name has escaped me. Oh, a quick look at that new livery for the 13 machine. Moon eyes on that car. You can tell it's Moon eyes because they've got eyes on the car that look like moons. Still haven't quite worked. We've never worked out what they do. Answers on a postcard. But a brand that's very well known over here, and great to have that brand supporting Adli Fong, who is the silver driver in that 13 car. I was about to say pro driver, he's actually a silver rated driver. James Uquai in the 45. Jordan Love in the 66. Ben Green in the 99. And then Darrell O'Young in the 77. Rover Mercedes, taking over from Daniel Frost, who's back in Singapore doing his military service. Great to have Darrell back with us. Plenty of... He's a veteran. I think he'd be okay with me calling him a veteran of world motorsport, not just of Asian motorsport. Has a victory in GT World Challenge Asia, but you would have to be a super fan to remember when he had far less grey hair as well. Stood on the podium a couple of times. This will be his 35th start in GT World Challenge Asia. Can that silver-silver pairing, as that car is usually entered as, be a factor? Not bad qualifying in qualifying 1 for Liang Jiatong, so should be there and thereabouts in race 1. But don't forget that the silvers have a 7-second penalty. Yeah, they have to sit in the pits for 7 seconds longer than all other cars because of their judged performance. So they lose 7 seconds in the pits versus the rest of the field. That is quite justifiable in a race that goes green all the way through to the pit stop window, but as soon as you have a safety car, it kind of mixes it or ruins the advantage that the first silver can make on the AMs. Andrew McPherson pushing on. Really struggled in Buriram for pace, but that car alongside Ben Porter having a much better run of things here in Fuji. And I think it's Fuji where they have their best results. It was back in 2022 when the grid was still affected by the coronavirus, but the Australians were able to get over here and come racing. And they were one of very few non-Japanese teams to race that year. And so it means that McPherson and Porter have only missed the first year of GT World Challenge Asia, and Andrew McPherson then only missing one other race, which was the first round in Sepang at the start of this year, where he fell ill just before the weekend. So 2 Corvettes looking strong in the hands of their princes, in the hands of the AM drivers. How will they fare with the pros? Ben Green with the victory last time out, first time in GT World Challenge Asia, became the 74th winner overall in, what did we say, 76 races or something? Of course, 2 winners per race, but it shows how competitive the series is when you have 76 races and 74 winners. Divide the winners by 2, and it means a different winner every other race. Impressive. There are those moon eyes. And Jay-Z, as he's decided to be called this weekend. No, not the rapper. Otherwise known as, and previously known as, Sun Jing-Zhu. That's where the Jay-Z comes from. And we've had Sun in the championship since the beginning. Was in the first year of GT World Challenge Asia with the best result of 6 in Beijing. And lovely to welcome him back, but would be nice to be able to call him by his proper name rather than pretending that he's an American rapper. Loris Spinelli comes over the line. Fantastic to have Spinelli back after his opening weekend in Buriram in this 19 Lamborghini. Different partner this weekend. Obviously, last time out was with B-Quick's Henk Kicks. And so we're now defaulted back to the absolute Corsa livery on that Lamborghini. Spinelli, as a works Lamborghini driver, entered alongside Vincenzo Ricci, who, of all of the AM drivers that have joined us, struggling to find out who Vincenzo is. So let's go down to paddock. But it was a question mark, actually, because he was quite sore after yesterday, and there was a question mark whether we'd see that car. In the 3-2-1 should be Daniel Liu. So ignore that graphic saying it's Changwoo Li, because Changwoo will have been out in the first session. So Daniel Liu comes over the line. Previously a Porsche Carrera Cup Asia supported driver, and that's a good qualifying effort. Up to third position, a 39.8. We're still not seeing great lap times from our pros. We're halfway through this session. They're still building up to it. Spinelli's 38.7 is still half a second slower than we saw in the first session. So we've got a little driver transponder issue in the 3-2-1. New driver in that car, Korean Changwoo Li, who's been in Lamborghini racing and owns the brand Grit, if you're familiar with Grit. Sort of a race team. But it's not him in the car right now, because he is the AM in that car. Nico Menzel. Haven't seen really very much of Nico in this championship this year. That car's sort of been inconspicuous. Run by GTO Racing. Quietly kind of got on with things. Best result and only points being the first race of the year. But Menzel, a Porsche Carrera Cup Asia champion and obviously winner at the Nürburgring as well. Expect a little bit more, I would have thought. As now we have a proper time at the head of the timing. Ben Green on the pole position with a 38.1. That's 3.5 tenths faster than Spinelli, who's improved on his last lap time. We've got purple sector for Leo Ye. Gosh, and that would be quite impressive if Leo Ye was able to go faster than Green and Spinelli. Really would be showing off that he is one of the very best GT3 drivers out there. Ojeda to the line in the 31. It's the car that's had fluctuating performance across the year. Is it going to be a good one for the Mercedes? It is, up to second spot. Still 4.5 tenths back off Ben Green's time. And it's going to be usurped, surely, by Leo Ye. Horrible weekend in Buriram last time out with no points. And it's nearly 2 blown engines in 2 races as well. But not out of the points in any of the other 4 races. And Leo Ye comes to the line then. First proper effort gets him to second. Missing out. Ben Green's lap time is really holding on there at the head of the field. don't forget, we've got the likes of Thierry Vermeulen, Dorian Boccolacci in cars right now. Ralph Aaron always shows well. Picarello hasn't done a lap either. Dung Yi, Marcus Finkelhock, Yuka Amaru. They're all out there as massive talents, but Ben Green has set the gauntlet and is now in the pits as well. So he feels he can't go faster than a 38.1. Jordan Love has slotted into second position in the second of the JMR Corvettes. So it's a 1-2 for Chevrolet right now. Here's Thierry Vermeulen, the Max Verstappen.com driver. His father, Verstappen's manager. And right at the front end of the Spa 24 Hours a couple of weeks ago in the Aston Martin that he races there. He races a Ferrari in the Sprint European Cup. Oh, and off into the gravel goes Alessio Picarello. And surely that's going to be a red flag with 3.5 minutes remaining and very few times on the board. He's well off into the gravel. I wonder whether that has been a brake failure at the end of the straight. It's a very, very odd place. Yeah, red flag flies, so that's not surprising. A very odd place for Picarello to go off. Very, very long straight here at Fuji. One of the longest of any race circuit on the calendar. But the fact that he was sort of pirouetting into the gravel trap, I would be surprised if we call this a session. Yeah, I think we will restart this session and get one lap in, but it'll be very, very hard to get performance. And I'll tell you what, so Picarello had just finished a lap. He was up to 6th position, but the grid is a right mix. Yuka Amaru hasn't set a lap time. He's 30th position. Got Darrell Young down in 25th. Dung Yi in the 96 Ferrari that qualified on pole in 24th. Yeah, some big names at the tail end of the field. Right, let's have a look what happens. So, comes into the braking zone. Bang, on the brakes, it just loses the rear end. That's not brake failure, unless it's brake failure to the rear of the car. Or he just had the bias way too far forward, and, well, effectively, the rear end just overtook the front. Not the kind of thing you would expect from a pro racing driver. Odd one, that. So Picarello won't. Number one, Picarello won't be able to set any more times in the session. Number two, and this is where I need to open my regulations, and unfortunately I don't have anybody alongside me to talk whilst I'm reading the regulations, but I have a feeling that Picarello will lose his fastest lap because he's caused a red flag. We'll have that confirmed. '98 gets put into its 45 position, so it's going to go back out onto circuit. It's being prepared to do so. Thierry Vermeulen in 11th position. Yeah, so red flag flew with 3 minutes 48, I think it was, to go. The clock now being reset at 3:50. So a lap time of 1:38. You're not going to get 2 laps in, but you're going to have to go out full attack and try and get a lap time in. It's good news, though, for Corvette right now, because Ben Green on the pole position, Jordan Love alongside. It's a front row lockout for Corvette. No wonder there's lots of hand slapping going on. Three and a half tenths between Green and Love. Leo Ye Hongli, give him his full name, in 3rd position. Jaden Ajeda in 4th. Dan Arrow, wow, up in 5th position, the Silver Ram. The problem with Darren is he's just been so epic this year. Ever since he made an appearance in GT World Challenge Asia in Mandalika in that Korean Porsche. He's then just sort of cropped up in all of the GT classics, so Spa 24 Hours and Nürburgring 24 Hours, and been right at the front. And I don't think he's going to stay a silver for very long. Not something you can change midway through the season. But that is a proper effort from Dan Arrow. The other one, which is equally impressive, Maxime Hussein up in 7th position in the BMW. So it really was a case of Q1 just not going well for them. And lap time being deleted for 9:11. Sorry, I was about to give you a piece of information that I thought was significant, but it's not. Patrick Pilet, although they are still deleting lap times from drivers' track limits. I should have been listening to that more intently. Patrick Pilet's lost his time. So he's dropped to 28th position. So the 911 is going to have to go back out again and set a time. Be interesting to see how many do. Akish Nandi, 19th position for Silver Ram Lamborghini. Would hope for better. Only 1.2 off the pole position, though. So it is very, very tight. That is for sure. On the AMs down in 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. 4 AMs, because we don't have the number 30 Reinhold Renger and Alex Liu Mercedes, but we have now got the number 60 Ferrari back as an AM now that Giancarlo Fisichella is not in that car. That's become an AM entry. Let's go down to JMR and speak to Jordan Love, who's on 2nd position on the grid.
So Jordan, so far P2, brilliant lap. You guys looked super confident in here. Are you planning to go out there again?
Yeah, no, it wasn't too bad. Obviously, we didn't quite maximise on our side of the garage. It was a little bit unfortunate, but obviously at the moment it looks really good for the team. But yeah, we'll see. I think a few cars might go out again. For us, we've definitely used up all of our rubber. This track is quite abrasive, so if we go back out, we're not really gonna go any better, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll sit here, fingers crossed, and see where we end up.
Yep. We'll be looking forward for the Corvette's good performance.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you.
Yeah, and that's going to be significant to watch out during the race as well. Tyre preservation throughout the stint going to be very, very important. Pirelli with a new tyre for this year, new compound to learn. And therefore, every time you come to a new circuit, it's just how does it compare to last year? And will the tyre be able to last the full stint? That's what they would have been working on during the qualifying, pre-qualifying and practice sessions, and even the test day before, running through those plans, trying to get long stints in to see how the tyre performs across, let's say, 4 or 5 laps or even 10 laps, and then extrapolate that across a full stint. And then try and work out what they need to do with tyre pressures, setup of the car, and indeed the way to drive. Lots of cars look like they will be going out onto circuit. Obviously the Corvettes are not. Ben Green, Jordan Love, we've already seen out the car. 3rd position at the moment is the 87, our champions from last year, Leo Ye. He just got a lap time in of a 38.5. Now I wonder whether that car will go back out. I would be surprised with that kind of performance. And I'm not sure that Craft Bamboo will put Jaden Ajada out either. There is Daniel Liu. And Bob Wan looking at the 87. He's looking at a car, and the car is not in the box. So, yeah, looks like Leo Ye may well be going out again. Remember, Bob with an engine failure after clogging up his radiators with grass in Buriram, and then Leo, almost doing exactly the same thing in the second race. In the end, scoring no points from Buriram. And it's something that they've been really good at over the last couple of years, and the reason why they became Silver Am and overall champions last year was because of that consistency of scoring every race. Victories in Mandalika and in Sepang in the race ones. And of course, race ones do have a slightly different character to race twos because of the way the two driver pairings work. And in the race twos, they've been in the points, but nothing from Buriram, and so dropped to 4th in the championship. But we're only halfway through, and absolutely loads of opportunities still. Alessio Piccarelli then hangs up his helmet, shakes his head, not smiley. I wonder if Emily can find out what happened from him, because it's an unusual accident.
In the beginning, it's a little bit better. It's bad straight away.
Shit, the whole run. And shaking every time I turn.
Okay, well, we don't really need Emily to ask any questions, do we? Because that was probably more informative than he would have said to her. Car shaking every time he turns. So he's got a real imbalance in the car and then hits the brakes, and that imbalance then spat the car into the gravel trap. So not a brake failure as such, but the shaking thing, that's a weird one, because usually shaking comes from imbalance in wheels. I'm kind of guessing here, but in corners, in corners you'd feel it more. Down the straights you'd feel it less, but maybe Emily can ask where the shaking's coming from. He'll be like, well, how do you know there's shaking? You'll be listening into my conversations. Interesting one. Right, okay, let's go down to Emily, who has Alessia Piccarelli with her.
So, Alessio, could you talk us through what happened on turn 1?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I had a lot of vibration since the beginning of the run. And then all of a sudden, when I braked 41, I locked fully the rear and I lost the car completely. And nothing I could do. And we are having issues since day 1, to be honest, here. So we are trying to solve it, but so far we didn't. So a bit frustrating.
A few hours to go for the race 1. Fingers crossed, car's going to be good.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, maybe Emily needs to get herself into the engineering. She said the car's going to be right, but it seems like there is a bit of a mystery in that garage as to why it's shaking, where that shaking is coming from. And usually someone like Alessio Piccarelli will have experienced everything, right? So he can then go, it's shaking because I had this when I was racing here in 20 whatever, and he can bring that experience. But it does look like he's a little bit lost as to why the car is shaking, what is causing that problem, and then a big lock-up at the tail of the field. So the team, Origin, with obviously championships to their name, highly experienced. They'll strip down the car as much as they possibly can in the time allowing and try and find out where this imbalance is coming from. Because it's one thing giving an imbalanced car to Alessio Piccarelli. There's another thing, Lu Wei having to deal with it. And we didn't really see very strong performance from Lu in his qualifying session in Q1. So a reminder, that car is finished in the hands of Lu Wei in 3rd position in the last 2 years. Always been a championship contender. And Piccarelli was 2nd last year in the championship. So So those are drivers that really know what they're doing. Leo Yates did come back out onto circuit, so feels as though he might be able to get an improvement, but the outlap here needs to be a really attacking one. They need to get those temperatures up as quickly as possible. Ojeda hasn't come out onto circuit. Piccarelli obviously not coming out either. But most of the cars have come out to give it another crack, and they just need to push now. There's no bringing in those tyres nicely. There's no time for any of that. Although, I suppose they have a bit of time. There is Jaden Ojeda's car, so he hasn't come back out, staying in 4th position as a maximum. There is time to take a little bit. Oh, actually, the early runners coming over the line now, they are on course for getting 2 laps out of this. Whether the guys at the tail end of the field will be able to do the same, I'll have a watch. Daryl O'Young certainly won't, because Daryl is behind the queue of traffic, and the clock is going to tick down to beyond 1 minute 40 by the time Daryl gets there. And in fact, I think the tail of this queue are going to struggle to get 2 laps in here. So wait for, okay, so there is a little gap after the number 13. And I think after the number 13, all these cars now, the 10, 25, 18, they will all only get 1 lap, whereas the guys ahead of them will get 2. There's Ben Green looking on. He has pole position right now, but there's nothing more that he can do. Should feel relatively comfortable with a 3.5 cushion, and no green sectors coming in the first sector of the lap yet. Oh, the 89 BMW was in that second queue, so Maxime Hussein can only do 1 lap here. He's not going to get a second one. 7th position right now. He's got Sean Tong in the Audi ahead of him for Uno Racing. Very much ahead of him as well. So may get caught out a little bit by Sean. They're both silver drivers. We get times already being deleted. Daniel Liu's had his time deleted. Yuken Amaru in the Nissan goes up to 17th position. So an improvement from them. Waiting for others to improve, waiting for that checkered flag to come out. Patrick Pile up to 16th position. But I'm not sure we're going to see an improvement here. Watching the clock in the top of the screen. The flag is going to come out and catch a few drivers. There we go, flag out now. And Adley Fong takes a checkered flag. No improvement from Fong. Maxime Hussein comes into the pit lane. Sabusa Kondu, Nico Menzel, Sean Tong, Adley Fong, Marcus Finkelhoff, all with checkered flags and no improvements. But now we watch the timing screens once more. Now, who is going to be able to improve on this second attempt? This is more like the opportunity. Tyres will be better now. Car will be up to feeling good. Leo Yates looking to try and get the pole. Needs to improve by 3.5 of a second, and there's no improvement in sector 2 either. So this may not happen for Leo Yates. No, 4.5 back, absolutely not. But further back, we're seeing improvements. Daniel Liu, Yuken Amaru, Thierry Vermeulen, all with better middle sectors. You can see that by the little green stripe to their names. Kanemaru is going to have a better lap time. He's improved in first and second sectors. Kanemaru up to 14th position then. No improvement in the middle sector of the lap. Here comes Thierry Vermeulen, was 11th. Lots of people diving to the pits without improving their lap times, and Vermeulen missing out in the last sector. The last sector is the most fiddly of the lot. It's where you rely upon the car the most, and there's no improvement from Vermeulen. So really no improvement from barely anybody here. Let's watch for Patrick Pile though in the 911. Unless he's bailed into the pits, which he may have done. Actually, he's taken the checkered flag actually, so yeah, no, that's not going to happen for him. And it does look as though the deltas were going away on their screens, and it just wasn't possible So a few improvements from those really far back, like we saw from Patrick Pilet. Got himself up to 17th spot. Leo Yee, no improvement. 3rd position, but he'll be sitting behind 2 Corvettes. Team JMR with a lockout. Ben Green on the pole, Jordan Love alongside. The Princes did a really good job in Q1. This could very well be a big weekend for Corvette and a big weekend for JMR. Now, Ben needs to get himself up to the Rove pole position award. No, there's a few cars actually out on circuit still, but no one's going to be improving. They'll be coming into pit lane, I would have thought. Our marching ants suggesting there are cars out there, and they are not. But Ben heads up towards the interview zone. There is Daniel Liu. Where did he end up? In 18th position, had a lap time deleted. Just behind Patrick Pilet. Marcus Finkelhock down in 20th position. Darrell Young, 26th. Then the 4 Ams at the tail of the field. Don't forget, no show from Win Here Harmony. The 55 not setting a lap time in either session, and will start both races at the very tail of the field. Here is the qualifying 2 results. Garage 75 with the pole position in Am. Our pole position comes from the Pro-Am category. Silver Am pole to Dan Arrow with Volgas, and the fastest silver once again James Yu Kwai alongside Frankie Cheng. So lockout for Johor Motorsport Racing JMR, then Leo Ye and Jada Jada on row 2, Volgas and Origin on row 3, although question marks over Picorello keeping that lap time or not. Then Team KSR BMW much better in 7th ahead of Spinelli in the Lamborghini in 8th. Ocolachi only managing 10th position, Ralph Aron 9th, Vermeulen 11th, Nico Menzel 12th. And then improvements from the Nissan 14th position. Kondo missing out on improving during that post-red flag. Pile only 17th for Absolute. Adley Fong down in 19th, Finkelhock in 20th spot. It's really been a tough year for that second Audi, the number 46. And even with a different teammate, no change of fortunes for Audi Sport Asia Team Phantom. On page 2 then, finding the 4 Ams, Garage 75, EBM, LM Corsa and AMAC. EBM with Andrew Bentley back aboard that car, with Martin Berry off in Sao Paulo. Darrell Young down in 26th. That's not the return that he'd be hoping for. Right, let's go back down to Emily, who has a very happy Ben Green on pole again.
Another pole position for you, Ben. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks very much. Very happy to get my pole on my Fuji debut, and yeah, Johor gave me a fantastic car. So looking forward to the race.
I didn't know it was your debut. What a great debut in Fuji.
Yeah, it's a fantastic track. Really like it here. It's been great exploring a bit of Tokyo as well. So yeah, looking forward to the race tomorrow and this afternoon.
Yes, and both Corvettes in the front. It must have been a wonderful feeling, but let's make that till the end.
Yeah, I mean, a fantastic effort from Johor, like I said. You know, to get a front row lockout in a tough championship is impressive, especially on their debut year with the car.
We'll be looking forward. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, pole position last time out in Buriram. JMR having a bit of torrid Spa 24 hours. Thanks for joining us. Later on today, we'll have the first race of GT World Challenge Asia. It's going to be a stonker. There's also Japan Cup races coming up. So if you want more GT action, Japan Cup qualifying coming up in just a few moments' time.